Welcome to Brazil Bound, presented by Castrol GTX High Mileage. This is it, the big prediction special, two-part series. Today we are going to tackle the group stage. On the next show, we are going to tackle the knockout rounds and, of course, give you our winners. Let me introduce our esteemed expert panel, or you guys, Greg Lawless, Jesse Marsh, and Simon Borg. We are going to give our picks in this show. Of course, though, we want to know who you guys are picking, and if you haven't already, go to MLSsoccer.com/bracket. You can fill out your picks in the Brazil Bracket Challenge presented by Capri Sun. Guys, let's get to your picks, though. Maybe you can help out our audience a little bit. Group A, we know that everyone's going to have Brazil going through. Brazil, Croatia, Mexico, and Cameroon. You all have Brazil first. Simon, what's the other team you have going through?
Croatia's number 2 for me. I think they're a better side than Mexico or Cameroon, and they have 3 players right now in their prime, in Modric, Rakitic, and Mandzukic. I think they perform well here.
Mandzukic missing the first game of the tournament.
We all have to say it with the accent, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. What do you got?
And really, you're going to bet against Mexico?
Yes,
Haven't they advanced since the beginning of time?
Who's their best player right now?
Well, that's a good question, but they will figure out a way, and Herrera's got this team going, so I'm taking them as their second.
I'm with Jesse. I have Mexico in this one. And you wait, because I have Mexico doing some special stuff later on.
All right, let's see what the fans picked in the Brazil Bracket Challenge so far. 99%, almost 100% picked Brazil to go through. Big shocker there. Second place, Mexico with 45%. Close, Croatia had 43%.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Group B now. Spain, Chile, Netherlands, and Australia. Simon, where are you going with this group?
Chile's number 1 for me. Even though I think they have defensive issues, Alexis Sanchez is going to be the best player in this group. And number 2, the Netherlands. I think a lot of people are downplaying them. I don't have Spain. I think Spain are going to get frustrated by these opponents.
That's remarkable. I disagree with that, and I think Spain.
That's a nice way to put it.
You can question how far they're going to go with the fact that their team's older, but this is an experienced group that's been around, that knows how to win. I'm picking them to finish first, and next is the Netherlands. I just think they're too good for the rest of the teams in the group.
I agree with Jesse on everything about Spain. They're definitely going through. They're number 1 in this group. And I love Chile, actually. I think they're a team that is going to surprise the Netherlands. I don't trust the Netherlands at all. I think they've gotten a lot
And why
older,
not?
too.
Because
I just
they're
think
older?
I think the age is going to be a real issue for them. And I think that Chile is an exciting, dynamic team that is going to be able to break down that organized Dutch team.
And the weather could be a factor.
And the weather.
All right, let's see what the brackets say so far. Spain, 98% of the brackets have Spain going through. Netherlands second at 76%. Chile only 24%. And good for you, the 2% of the people out there who have Australia going through. Group C now, Colombia, Greece, Ivory Coast, and Japan. Let's start at the other end, Greg. Who do you have? Because I know your favorite team is Greece.
Yes, and unfortunately, the most boring team in the world is not going to get through in this group.
What?
They're near and dear to my heart. They always will be, but I just don't think they have the quality to do it. So, Colombia comes in first. I think even without Falcao, they're a good team, and they're good enough to get out of this group. And then here's the surprise. Japan. I have Japan going number 2. I love the ability that they have to get in the attack. They're fast. They're going to run all over the place.
Fit,
and
exciting.
And that might wear them
Good
down
team.
in the temperatures and in the weather, but it's also going to wear down their opponents. So
They
I
get
think
in
they've
the
got
attack,
it.
but they can't score. They
Doesn't
don't
matter.
have a score.
Doesn't matter. They're going to get some goals, and they're going to be fine. Number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Colombia had a good qualifying campaign, and even without Falcao, that's still a talented group, so I think they finished first. And then second for me is the Ivory Coast, and it's another team that's getting a little bit older, but again, it's a very talented group, experienced team, and I expect them to do well.
I flip that order. I go Ivory Coast 1, Colombia 2. I think Colombia, they stumble at some point in this group, and Ivory Coast, I think they're just mentally ready. They're mature enough, and I think they go first.
I like Greg's pick. Japan's my dark horse. All right.
But he doesn't pick Greece. You okay with that?
Yeah, Greece is never going. They're not going to score a goal. They're going to tie 3 games 0-0. All right, Colombia. The fans say Colombia 80% going through. Ivory Coast second at 57%. Group D now. This is a very tough group with Uruguay, Italy, England, and Costa Rica. Jesse, let's start with you on this one. Who do you have going through?
Well, even with Suarez's injury, I still think that he'll be ready to go, and I think Uruguay will finish first. Second, I have Italy, and I think that first game against England will be a very important game, but I think they'll edge them out there, and I think they'll finish second.
I agree with Jesse on those 2 picks. Exact order, England and Costa Rica, not enough quality.
I would flip it around. Italy comes in first, I think, and Uruguay comes in second. But let's talk about why England just don't have it. I mean, they don't have the quality. What don't they have, really?
They don't have, to me, a difference maker on the team right now.
Rooney's not a difference maker.
No, he's at his lowest moment in his career. I think enjoy this World Cup. This is the last World Cup he's playing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think England's just good enough with difference makers and around the whole field. I don't think they're talented enough right now.
Nobody inspired by England. Let's see what the people say. Italy, 79% going through. Second, Uruguay, 64%. England was at 54%. And
Costa Rica?
3% of the people
close.
Pretty
have
good.
Costa
More than
Rica going
Australia
through.
in their group. There's only 2% up there.
All right, Group E now. Switzerland, France, Ecuador, and Honduras. Who do you have, Simon?
Ecuador's number one for me, and France too. Ecuador, they have Ener Valencia and Felipe Caicedo
Good
up
players.
top.
Really
Those
good
two
players.
forwards, no defense in this group is going to be able to handle them. I think they're first. And France, just pure based on quality, they go through.
I like Ecuador. I have them second. The biggest question mark with them is in qualifying, they won all their home matches,
Yeah.
but didn't win any on the road. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in Brazil. And then the first for me is Switzerland. I think that it's a talented group, and I know they had an easy group in qualifying, but I think with guys like Bahrami and Shaqiri, that's still going to be a dynamic team that gets
I
results.
think the weather affects Switzerland.
Yeah, maybe.
But doesn't it affect France too? It's going to do that too. But I have France coming actually first in this group because everything you said, Simon, about look, they have experience, they have quality all around the field, and I think they're going to be fine. And then Ecuador, I agree. Ecuador's number 2 for me. In this
The only thing is Ribéry, I think, is a big loss.
It's a
for
big
France.
loss for them,
Big
but
loss
I
for
think they
France.
have enough on a team level to cobble it together to make up for that.
You know, in France, they're calling this maybe the worst team ever.
That's fine because they've called
They're
good teams in the
they're
past
coming off
that didn't
a
do very
terrible
well. So.
performance, obviously, at the last World Cup. But 91% of the brackets have France going through. Switzerland, the second team, with 51%. Ecuador at 40%. Group F now. Argentina, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Iran, and Nigeria. Simon, who do you have?
Easiest group to pick. Argentina, they win all their games. They're number 1. Bosnia, I think they're my dark horse in the whole tournament. I think they go number 2 because the opposition, the rest of the teams in that group, not good enough.
The only concern I have right now is I'm agreeing a lot with Simon.
Yeah, this is a group that I think we all agree on. It's simple. It's Argentina and Bosnia going through.
All right, the people agree as well. Maybe not as close. 99% of the brackets have Argentina going through. Bosnia and Herzegovina, 49%. Nigeria, 46%. So kind of close there. Maybe they didn't watch that performance.
Just not good enough, I think.
Nigeria's performances in their last couple games have not been great. Group G, the big one, the U.S.'s group. Germany, Portugal, and Ghana fill out the group of death. Greg, let's start at the end. Who do you have?
All right, well, I'm going to go a little bit with my head and a little bit with my heart in this one. So Germany, the machine, their Mannschaft and all that, they go through at number 1. And I think the U.S. actually gets through out of this group at number 2. I think that they're going to get a result against Ghana. It may not be a win. Everyone says they need to win. That's not true. The Portugal game is the one that matters most. That's the one that they need to get 3 points. And I think this Portugal team is not as good as a lot of people say or that the rankings say.
Yeah, this is a hard one. For my heart, I'll be rooting for the U.S. all the way, right? But I think it's Germany 1, and I think Ghana is a team that's going to surprise people. They're very athletic. They're good in both boxes. And you know what? To do well in the World Cup, you got to score goals. And Ghana can score goals, and they can score them in bunches. So I think they'll finish second.
I think Ghana take advantage of those mistakes against naive teams. But for me, Portugal, they're a side that are expert, they're feisty, they're organized, mentally they're stronger than every other team in this group, including Germany. They make it through as number 2, Germany 1.
All right, I'll use this opportunity to plug a feature that we have on the site. Bob Bradley helping us preview the U.S.-Ghana game, giving us a scouting report on Ghana. And now I'll give you what the brackets say. Germany, 95% of the brackets have Germany going through. Second place here, Portugal with 50%, the U.S. 49%. So obviously really close there. Only 5% of the brackets, Jesse, you're one of them, have Ghana going through.
But I think a lot of that is a little bit what Jesse was saying about the surprise. People don't really know this Ghana team, and they're not sure what they're all about. They see all the other players, the Portuguese, the German players all the time playing in Europe, and they may not notice some of the Ghanaian players.
I could have been the tiebreaker here because you each picked a different team other than Germany, but I'm glad I don't have to pick that group. All right, Group H, last one. Belgium, Russia, Algeria, and South Korea. Simon, who do you have going through?
South Korea, I think, go number 1. I think Algeria and Russia are 2 of the worst teams at this World Cup, so I think they beat those teams. And then against Belgium, I think the South Korean counterattack will work to perfection. I think South Korea, they're going to run harder than every team in this group, and to me, they're the shock team. Finish first. Belgium, they're a team that's, I think they can get down on themselves. They finish second.
What makes you think they can get down on themselves?
Because they're a
you're
team.
just
They're
saying
not. No, they're not mentally. I've seen them in qualifying. They're not a team that's going to just dominate a game and impose their will. They're going to hope their talent gets them through.
They're still young.
They're young. I mean, that's one of the things about them. But they're athletic. They can run. They can, they're talented. They're
can
deep.
finish.
They're an exciting team to watch. They're going to be fun. Yeah, I mean, that'll be the biggest challenge for them is with all that youth and inexperience.
And pressure
how do they
as being-
handle the games in the World Cup? But still, they're number one in the group for me, and then I'll do the same. I'll just flip them with
South Korea.
too.
Yeah, and I agree with Jesse on that. Same thing about Belgium. And I like the South Korea team. They're another team that I think will either run the other team to death or themselves to death, either way. But I think they get through out of the group.
All right, what the fans say here, Belgium 91% going through, Russia 68%, Simon calling them one of the worst teams in the tournament. Very interesting. Before I let you guys go, I want to get a couple more predictions for the tournament. Starting with the leading scorer, who do you think is going to win the tournament's Golden Boot? We'll start on the end with Greg.
Well, they're in probably the easiest group in all of this, so I'm going to go with Kun Agüero from Argentina to get the Golden Boot.
Yeah, have you heard of Lionel Messi?
I've heard of him.
Yeah. He takes their penalties, too.
Oh,
So I think
That's what you
Argentina's
want
going to
the
do
penalty?
it.
You want the penalty taker?
First two Golden Boots come from the same team.
Yes,
Simon, who do you have?
I'm going to stay in that group, and I'm taking Edin Dzeko of Bosnia. He doesn't have to share the load with anyone. It's all him. He's scoring all the goals.
All right, one more question before you go. How about the breakout player of the tournament? Jesse, who do you have for breakout player?
I'm going to take Shaqiri from Switzerland. I think he plays for Bayern Munich, so I know that's an established team, but he hasn't established himself yet on the world stage, and he's a really exciting attacking player, and I think he'll have a great World Cup.
Greg, who do you have?
Good going for the player who plays for the German champions. Well done. So I'm going to go with Marco Fabian from Mexico, who, like I said, there are going to be some surprises about Mexico in my predictions in the knockout stages. And so I think that he's a good forward, knows how to score goals, and as this Mexico team rolls through, he's the one who's going to be carrying a lot of load.
Last one.
I'm going to Colombia, and he spells his name James, but you pronounce it James. James Rodriguez. He plays in the backwater that is French football. He plays for Monaco, and he's going to be spectacular. The exquisite left foot. He can do it all, passing, scoring goals, set pieces. This guy's going to be phenomenal.
Question.
Yeah.
When did France become a backwater in soccer?
It is.
Okay.
There you have it, our expert picks for the group stage of the World Cup. Tune into part 2. We are going to have the knockout stage predictions. And of course, go to MLSsoccer.com/World Cup for all your World Cup coverage.